I am a cure.
Mm.
Each of us are a cure, a unique cure for a problem, a challenge that this world is facing.
That's powerful.
So if you do not find out who you are authentically supposed to be, you are denying a whole bunch of people of their cure.
Bootstrapped unicorns, it's Josh Pies. Yes, I am the chief attention getter, and I'm back again. And as you usually know, I end the last episode with going, I have no clue who I'm going to be hanging out with next, but I promise they're going to be awesome, and they're going to do something for you in a good way. And Markus Kaulius, I said that right? Nailed it. Yes. All right. So Markus is here, and he's an author. Playabiggergame.com is the name of his website and also the name of his book. He is a performance coach. He is a private investor, and he's that CEO that you want to be because he started something, grew it, and harvested it. And I want to dig into that a little bit because I'm always fascinated, but we need to get into his book because some of the takeaways are things that you're not doing right now. And if you would just freaking listen, your life's going to get better. So without further ado, Markus, I'm really honored that you're here. I'm glad you worked to reschedule with us to hang out. This is important stuff. How are you today?
Oh, Josh, I'm on fire, man. I appreciate being here. I love the name of this podcast.
Thank you.
So good. Bootstrapped unicorns. Man, when I heard I'm coming on, I'm like, this is my jam. So we're going to have a lot of fun. And one of my favorite things to do is to make sure I'm giving actionable tips for people. So if you're listening to this, please don't just be a consumer today. Don't just look at this for entertainment value, but it will be entertaining. But actually take action with these things that we give you, because if you take action, I know your life will change.
All right, so let's do some baseline stuff here because, Markus, I think, first of all, you hail from the great state of Canada's Vancouver, right?
This is a true story.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I don't think you're a household name for my audience yet. We're going to make that change now. But so one of the things that I like to give my audience is a clarity of who's speaking into their lives. I try not to have never wases or never weres onto the show. I try to have people who have verifiable expertise, things where we know you have met with a certain level of what we would all agree is success. And we all define success differently. I hope you're happy, but I also think that you've also done some things in business that we wish we could as fellow entrepreneurs. So could you give me a little bit of your background so that my audience who doesn't know you can go, oh, I wish I knew this guy, and listen to the rest of the show.
I love it. I love it. And thank you. I don't usually like talking about myself in this way. So please excuse me, everybody, if it sounds there's ego or pride in this, because there is not. I'm just going to kind of spit some of my resume.
That's good. That's good. That's what we need.
Prove my worthiness here. So I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. I've sold many businesses. I currently have ownership in something like 26 to 28 businesses across the planet. One of my biggest ventures, I started in 2005, and God called me to sell it last year. I took that company from $0 to over $170 million in worldwide sales. And I had a super fun, exciting, successful exit out of that company. And now I'm in this beautiful phase in my life, this new chapter that I truly believe every entrepreneur dreams of hitting, which is I can do whatever I want. I don't know exactly what's coming next. I've got a whole bunch of things going on, but I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing next. And I absolutely love it. The amount of peace that I feel in my life. I've been married for coming up on 20 years.
That's awesome.
Obsessed with my wife. We have 2 teenage daughters. One is 15, while the other's 12, but she's going on 27.
Yeah, there you go.
I love my little girls. So I love being a dad. I love being here. And I'm also a super healthy dude. You can find me on social media. You can see that I've been on covers of over 15 fitness magazines worldwide.
And your products were in the fitness space, right? I mean, it was healthcare.
They were. They were. I've had a few different companies in this space just because I love it. I love what fitness and health can do for your body and your mind, and how it translates into everything else that you're trying to do in life. I think you'll find so much more success in life if you focus on being successful in fitness.
I think that rings true with a lot of the influencers that I follow. There is a trend where they tend to stay rather healthy, rather fit, and it's part of the discipline that is required to be a disciplined person in other areas of life.
Yes.
Off air before we started recording, the audience should know that I was making a wisecrack about how young you look in comparison to me. You're 2 years older than I am, but you look like you're about 12 years younger than I am. And what a blessing. And I try to stay pretty fit myself, but you seem to have really unlocked it. So kudos.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I think maybe that's the last piece of my resume is I'm not just somebody who is healthy, not just someone who's done some really incredible things in the business world, but I really love my life. I have a lot of fulfillment, a lot of joy. I'm hoping people will feel that today. I'm hoping you're going to feel love out of me today because I'm just here to serve. I'm here to help others achieve more in their life, wake up even further, discover their meaning of success, their purpose on this planet, and to lift you up in the most loving and merciful way.
That's amazing. So actually, you know what? I was going to ask you a little bit about the performance coaching thing because I know you're a performance coach and I think that's really cool. But you just said a word that is a hot button for me, a purpose. And I feel like there's a lot of entrepreneurs who have a business where maybe they were talented, maybe they were I'm the tech guy and I'm going to strike out on my own and be a tech company now. And so maybe they're fixing PCs, but they're still fixing PCs because they're working in their business, not on it. And
Nice.
and so that's very time consuming. That's very mentally consuming. It's hard to grow from that position. But also, and I was that practitioner 25 years ago myself, where I was a freelancer in the film and television world, had some great successes, and had to figure out how to iterate to grow in my own career out of those habits of being the practitioner, and then figure out how to work on my business. And it's a super challenge, but I feel more purpose now as an entrepreneur than I have and I too, you got about 25 years in, same here. And I feel more purpose now than I ever have. And it gives me so much clarity and direction. And I feel like there's a lot of people doing what they think is a good thing, but they don't have it yet. And so my question to you is, and I think we agree it's important, how do you find it?
It's a beautiful question. It is a journey. It is a journey. So I'd love to give people a few tips on this journey, help you find your way towards being your authentic self. And that's really what we're talking about here. If you find your authentic self and keep moving into that every single day, you're going to discover your purpose. I truly believe that we are all put here with a very specific purpose, and who you are authentically as you. There's only one of you on the planet. You are this unique unicorn. And if you're trying to be someone you're not, and I don't mean that again offensively, we are all conditioned these days, especially because of social media, because of algorithms, to just become a watered down version of yourself. Hey, can you just kind of fit in line, please? Can you get the same haircut as these other people? I need you to watch these same videos. We need you to become this kind of human being. But the more you fight that and go, wait, no, the world needs me to be me because there was only one of me. And I am actually a cure for something going wrong on this planet.
Ooh, say that again. You're a cure for something?
I am a cure. Each of us are a cure, a unique cure for a problem, a challenge that this world is facing.
That's powerful.
So if you do not find out who you are authentically supposed to be, you are denying a whole bunch of people of their cure.
Wow. And so that alone, just saying to yourself, okay, I believe I'm a cure. I don't know what I'm a cure for yet, but I believe I'm a cure is a massive step. What would, there's a lot of people who will try to push you in a certain direction, but the direction that you're supposed to have is very unicorn-like and can feel kind of elusive. I love this as a first step. I love that. And I believe now I'm a cure. How do you start finding where the ailment is that you're the cure for? How do you become aware of that? Are there any tips around that?
Yeah, absolutely there are. So one, I love that we're going through this process, because now we've talked about the why, to discover like, hey, wow, I am the cure. Okay, there's my why. Like, I have to discover, what am I supposed to heal? Who am I supposed to heal? So we're on the same page. I'm going to put effort into finding this out, and I'm going to stop the complacency in my life of being someone else, of being a watered down version of myself. And there's one last parameter I want to give everybody. You have to recognize, if you're going to be your authentic self, not everybody is going to love you.
Ooh.
And that's so okay. Embrace that. The world, again, social media, Netflix, all the algorithms, they're going, hey, if you just water yourself down, everybody's going to like you. Tell me when that's actually true. The truth is, nobody hates you, because you're just a watered down version of you. So nobody's going to love you, but no one's going to hate you. That's not a fun way to go through life, and you will not be the cure for anything. So in being my authentic self, I know that I'm a very strong cup of tea. Some people are going to taste this tea and be like, that's not my kind of tea. That's okay. You don't have to force this tea down your throat, and I'm not going to water it down for you. But I do know this. Some people are going to taste this tea. They're listening to me right now and going, whoa, I've never heard a guy talk like this. This is my cup of tea, like he's talking into my heart. And that's what excites me. I'm supposed to be speaking to very specific people, and that's who I'm here for. So to recognize there's going to be division, and that's okay. And I'm not pinning people against each other. It's just, I'm going to spend time with the people who I'm connected to. And in doing that, this is a first great step into going, wow, I actually feel like my authentic self. So I want to tell you just really quickly, when I started this journey, how much I was fighting the person I was supposed to be.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was quieting them down, because the world said, you're too loud. You have too much energy. We can't handle that. You should be quieter. You should be softer. You should be more muscular. You should be less fat. Like, are these things relating for people? Like, the world is saying to you, you're too this, you're too that, you're too this. We're fitting you into a box, because we know what to do with you then. We're just going to go ahead and put you on the shelf, and you fit right there, and you go to sleep. I want you to wake up. I want you to figure out the stuff that's in you that's like, it feels like I should be the kind of person to excellent. Let's explore that. And each day you're going to try and recognize, what did it feel like I was not really being myself, and I was kind of just, fighting my nature, versus I just felt like I was being myself today, and that felt really good. And when you do those things, you're going to take a moment to celebrate them, to go, man, that was awesome. I was out helping this person, or I was having a good conversation with this person, or I got my workout in, and I felt right. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Excellent. You are on the right path. And the one last thing I want to add is 2 simple questions. This is just getting you started on your path of finding out who you are supposed to be. 1, what really lights you up in this world? What are the things that excite you, that get you out of bed, that if you could fill your day with the stuff that you love, how would that day look? And that's the stuff that lifts you, ignites your soul. Now we're talking your authentic you. The other side of this, which is also fun to explore, the other side of this is really fun to explore, is what pisses you off in life. And I don't mean just like looking for the negative stuff in life. No. But I mean what pisses you off as in injustice. It is wrong how many people in my city are going hungry every day. It is wrong this. It is wrong that. That's another thing that excites you, and it excites you alone. I'm not saying you're the only person in the world that gets pissed off by it, but maybe your thing Yeah, as Marcus, that bothers me a bit, but it doesn't piss me off. The
Right.
stuff that pisses you off, that's you. That's your unique thing. So explore that.
That, and I love the what pisses you off thing, because I think a lot of people, that righteous indignance, people feel it, but they don't identify that it's actually a part of who they are.
Yes.
And being able to take action on your righteous indignance is a critical component to feeling fulfilled. um you mentioned, people going hungry, and I think it's a nice example. But one of the things that I think, especially for entrepreneurs, is how do I bring that back to, my small tech company, my small contracting company? It's
Mm,
okay to find the piss off and the injustices and the righteous indignance about something that to Mother Teresa might feel a little trivial, perhaps. But
sure.
within your industry, there's people getting swindled that can piss
Yes.
you off. There's people
Yeah.
doing poor craftsmanship that can piss you
Yes.
off.
Yeah.
It's small to the other person, but it's big to you.
Oof. I love that. That is beautiful and brilliant. And I also want to throw out there. So you're in the tech industry. But you know what? It gets me really pissed off that kids in Africa aren't getting clean water. Like, if that's your thing, guess what? Don't now filter it through, well, that doesn't really play well in the tech industry. So I'll find something more, whatever. No, if it is pissing you off, I promise you there's going to be a whole bunch of other people in tech who go, wow, I've never heard of another tech company putting money towards kids getting clean water in Africa. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'd like to move my business over to work with you. That's how cool it is when you find where you fit in this planet. So those things have been placed on your heart. Do something about it.
Oh, that's outstanding. So, is this the flavor of working with you as a performance coach? Because, like, I'm ready to take on the world already. So, is this how you roll with performance coaching? Because when you said performance coaching initially, for whatever reason, I had your coachees like dragging weight plates across a football field in my mind, which is probably completely wrong. What does that life look like?
How about this? I'm a life strategist.
There you go.
So I really want people to find their unique selves. I just know every time I've helped someone with that, their energy, their confidence, their abilities, their talents go up tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, because we don't realize how much energy we're just throwing out the window by swimming upstream, thinking this is what it's supposed to be like. And you keep hearing, well, life is hard, life is challenging. It's like, well, said a bunch of people who didn't accomplish anything. I'd like
Ooh,
to tell you, life is easy if you choose to make it easy. What if it didn't have to be as complicated as you think? Now, I'm not saying you don't have to work hard in life. Oh my, I love the hard work that I've put in. But guess what? When you find what you're supposed to be doing on this planet and you find who you're supposed to be, oh, I could work 80 hours without blinking and go, oh my goodness, that was an 80-hour week. I didn't even notice. And that's
right.
not
It's not
because
work.
that's right. That's right. But we've got these, well, that sounds good, but that doesn't impact this part of my life. So I'll go to my crappy job. And then when I'm done, then I'll be more my authentic self. And it's like, oh man, no. I'm sorry. You've got it all wrong. And don't forget, if you do it that way, you're doing it like everybody else. Now, are you your authentic self when you come home to your spouse and to your children? No, you're showing up with a tenth of the energy you could be showing up with, a tenth
Yeah.
of the intentionality and that excitement, that drive that's in you. Oof, wouldn't you want your wife, your husband, your whatever to see that in you, your kids to see that in you? I love that my kids witness that. I love that I know my kids talk about it. I was in the car driving my kids to school this morning and they go, Dad, here's a couple of people at school who are just huge fans of you. They're talking about the kids in grade 7. I'm like, what? And they're like, they found you on social media. They're obsessed with you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm laughing. And the pride that they had in their voice, because they know their dad is a super passionate guy who gets the best out of people. If you spend some time with me, I will brainwash you into realizing that you can conquer this world.
Awesome. And, actually, that's interesting. Let's talk about parenting. I like this because, we just helped a whole bunch of entrepreneurs find their pathway. They're going to now go hunt their purpose if they don't feel like they have it. Yeah. And I'm going to pause right here and just do straight up advertisement. How do people find you? Because sometimes I forget to ask.
Well, thank you. So first of all, my book is in pre-sale right now. So you can find it on all the main book sites. It's called Play a Bigger Game. By the way, everything we're talking about today, and most importantly, all the actionable steps that you're hearing out of my mouth, this is what the book is all about. It's going to give you the mindset tools, the perspective shifts, and then it's going to challenge you immediately. Try this today. Put this into use today. And you watch how quickly your life will change. Now, I don't mean you're going to be a different human being in 30 days, but by tomorrow, you're going to notice a few things feel a lot better. You'll have more peace on certain things. And then it's up to you to keep doing it every single day. So there's that. There's finding me at playbiggergame.com. That's my mastermind. It's my community. It's beautiful. And then come find me on Instagram at Markus Kaulius. I'd love to support you and cheer you on. It's what I do.
Okay, good. So that way I didn't forget it. We know how to find you. And I know a whole bunch of people are pausing right now and going and finding you. I'm sure, watch, they're going to start on Instagram. And then they're going to go and pre-order the gosh darn book. I'm on the list too. And so this is exciting. So we're both parents. You've got, what ages are your girls?
15 and 12.
Awesome. So I have a 15-year-old daughter who's a freshman in high school. I have an 11-year-old daughter who is in 5th grade. And I have Will, literally his middle name is Wolverine. He is in kindergarten. He's a 5-year-old, right? I'm going to tell you that story too at some point. I don't know if I've told it on the show, but how we got his middle name was God whispering in my ear. I kid you not. It's a great story. So I'll get to that.
Love it. I can't wait to
and maybe why don't we take some time? I'll tell this on the air with you because I bet you'll have some insight into how magical that was. I think it's so cool that your daughter's friends are discovering your energy and the positivity and what they can learn from you. But how is it as a parent who has such energy and clarity around playing a bigger game and purpose, for lack of a better phrase, purpose-driven life? How is it having two kids who I'm sure you're hitting hormone stage and big life moment changes, and we're hitting them here. What's that life like, and what advice do you have for parents who would like to positively affect their kids?
Thank you for this. And I don't think there's a more important mission on this planet, by the way. Right. As much as I love entrepreneurs, man, parents, we need to start stepping up our game more every single day. We've gotten complacent. And again, I'm going to just caveat by saying, please, if you're listening to this and I say something, please don't feel judged. I come from a place of mercy and love. I just want to see what's best for your kids and for you. The more effort you put into this, the more you're going to get respect and love and a relationship with your kids that's going to be beautiful. So please don't hear this as, oh, Markus was just judging me, coming down on me. And I also want to say, I am not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. So don't hear any of this like, well, if you want to be a perfect father like me, no, you're hearing it all wrong. But I do have this to give you. There's a few key things I've found great success in my life. So I'm just going to encourage you guys with this. Number one, be super intentional with your children. We have this idea like it's all going to work out okay. Like we'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. How's that working out for society right now? How is that working out for our workforce? How's that working out for 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds still living at home?
It's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. And again, no blame or anything, but in my opinion, one, I'm not going to let that happen with my kids because I'm depriving them of independence. I'm depriving them of an awesome life. I got to live some amazing things in my 20s and in my 30s. And a lot of that had to do with working and passion and working with different people, working with different companies with different purposes, making some real impact on this world. I'm not going to take that away from them. It starts as young as you can possibly start it. I was having real adult conversations with my 3-year-olds. I was putting it in their heads, discipline. Like I'm such a fan of discipline. And a big piece of encouragement that I want to give every parent, discipline and communicate. These two things go hand in hand. If you're that parent that's like, no, you're going to do that because I said so, you're asking for a rebellious teenager. I have never once done that. Or if I did, I tried to correct it immediately. But my
Sure,
point
yeah, you're
was,
human.
yeah, my point was to communicate. I would sit them down and explain to them. And here's the thing, parents, if you don't have a good explanation, shouldn't that be something you're looking in the mirror going, oh, yeah, why? Why? So if you're like, hey, you can't be on the iPad for more than an hour today. That's it, 1 hour max. And they go, what? Why? All my friends are doing 8 hours. This is bull crap. Well, what's your reason? If you don't have a good reason, in my opinion, then you need to step back and find a good reason. So for me, I walked into that conversation knowing that they're going to ask the why. And I go, well, here's a few reasons. Number one, it's frying your brain. Number two, did you know that there is like no Silicon Valley executives who allow their children to go on iPads or iPhones? Doesn't that tell you something? They're the ones building this stuff. They're building the algorithms and they're going, oh, I'm not letting my kids' brains be fried by this. That's number two. Number three, every minute you spend on that iPad, you could be actually doing something with your life, growing, reading a book, listening to a podcast, spending time with real human beings. This is stuff that will actually elevate you as a human and not just press pause. Like adults, come on, we know this too. We're adults, and yes, I spend time on my iPhone once in a while just goofing off. But what am I really doing in life? I'm pressing pause. I'm pressing pause for however long I'm going to be on there. Again, no judgment. We all do it. But how long do you want to press pause on your life? And how long do you want your kids to be pressing pause?
And I'm sure your kids are responding to the why on that reasonably well.
They're doing great. And hey, you also, I mean, this is just one little piece of encouragement. And it comes with a full package deal. If you have nothing for them, like, okay, well, I have no books to read. And it's like, well, figure that out yourself. That might be a tough conversation. But in my family, we're like, great. You want to go to the library right now? Great. You want to order some books right now? Like we are prepared for those next excuses so we don't go, just sit there and figure it out. I don't want to do that. I want to be really reasonable. And so just a personal story, just last week, I realized we had slipped again because just so you know, parents, this is a constant thing. You will have your rules and then I stopped enforcing them a little bit. And my kid, my 12-year-old, she was on the iPad a little bit too much again. And I said, Bailey, here's the new rules. 1 hour a day, 4 days a week. You get to choose which hour. I won't tell you, so you can book your friends and say, friends, on Wednesday night between 6 and 7, can we get on the iPad to spend time together? You get to make that choice. And also with that time, you should say, hey, on Thursday, I can't be on the iPad. Does anyone want to come over and play? And so I gave her these suggestions. It took less than 3 days for her to come to me and go, Dad, thank you. I can't believe how much time I was spending on the iPad. And like, I'm telling you, but by the way, this was a totally different child 3 days later. She was full of life, energy, positivity. I had already seen she was reading more. She was on the treadmill. I didn't tell her to go on the treadmill. She was on the treadmill. She's like, Dad, I feel so much more energy. I've read way more books. I got ahead in my homework. Thank you. Don't forget, everybody, the iPad is a drug like any other drug.
If you dopamine machine.
It's a dopamine machine. And you pull them off of that drug, they will eventually go, I didn't realize what I was doing. I was hitting that drug every day.
And there's actually sometimes a little withdrawal with it. So we've had the same thing. My oldest, Bella, was on the phone a lot. And we were letting her use it as a bit of a homework tool because there was some reason to grab some research and stuff. And so, and it was permissible with her class. We weren't shortcutting. But then it turned into, the phone's still there. And none of us noticed that now it's just doom scrolling. And so we cut it off and we instituted a basket at the front of the house where all the electronics go in the basket and we can't touch it for an extended period of time. And she was jittery. Honestly, that first night, she actually was going through withdrawal. And it told me a lot about the dopamine fix and the hits that she was getting from that. And the following day, there were new behaviors. She just had to sleep it off. And the next day, she was back to the kid I know.
Yes.
And she is a wonderful, kind-hearted kid, but she seemed kind of like a mean zombie for a couple of days prior. And I think we had, to your point, we had slipped a little bit, and our leadership was lacking, and we had missed the nuance that she was getting on there too much. And so huge win, but it took a moment. And I'll tell you, I'm in the industry. I'm in film and television.
Yep.
I have been for 20 something years. And I saw a documentary, I don't know, a handful of years ago that really freaked me out
I know
because
what it is. Social Dilemma?
I think it might have been that. Yeah, I think it was Social Dilemma. Did you see that part where they said you were watching a box that's called Tell a Vision?
Wow.
And the executives who set up everything that comes out of the vision telling machine is called programming.
Wow.
And we always took it as, oh, you have to program it into time slots and move things around, and you're moving the programs around. But they're programming the viewer by telling a vision.
Wow.
And now the programming machine's in our pockets, and it's in our car in the back seat with our kids. And it's really, parents, leaders who are in business understand that we have to communicate to our employees and help move a vision forward for the business. And how many of us are bringing that level of discipline? I love the word discipline because, some parents hear it and they think, get out the switch, take the belt off. I'm going to discipline retroactively. But everything I hear you talking about is self-discipline. It's about seeing the value, seeing the why, and self-programming to say, I am restrained. I will do the things I'm required to do to live a good and quality life. That's a different type of discipline.
Yes. Oh, so good. No, you're nailing it. And man, I loved your anecdote too. That was so good. Can I give one last piece of encouragement? And this is one of my favorite things to do with my girls that absolutely radically changed our relationship.
What's that?
Instituting daddy-daughter vacations that are one-on-one.
Really?
So I wish I had learned this at a younger age. So we've done this. This is our third year going into it. And what it looks like is this. You have 2 children or 3 children, whatever you have. These are different human beings. And yet for years, it was just like, okay, it's Marcus and his kids. No. I want it to be Marcus and Claire. And then Marcus and Bailey. That is the relationship I have to cultivate. And so one of the things I started doing is we started going on daddy-daughter vacations. So I would talk to Claire. I talked to them together, but I'd say, hey, it's a separate trip. I want you to choose where we're going. I want you to plan things out. Now, if before anybody goes, oh, that's great for you, Marcus, you've sold businesses and all this, and you can go wherever. Hey, come on. Some of these trips, you can set a budget of $200. You can set a budget of $500. Don't give the excuse of, well, we can't fly across the world, so we're not going to do it. You can camp. You can camp in your backyard.
Absolutely.
You can do things on a shoestring budget. And by the way, I've worked with so many fathers on this who've done amazing camping trips. And to be honest, I actually think camping trips will bond you better than any of the trips that I do with my kids these days. But I'd love to share with you, Claire and I went in November. She booked us for New York City.
Oh, cool. How was that?
It was spectacular. So I'm going to share a couple of the things that she booked us for, and I want to share the lesson. So first, in having her book things, one, she started to learn about budgets. She started to understand about planning. Like, we can't do 7 things in that day because look at the overlap of time and whatnot. So you have to decide priorities. Well, what do you want? What's the biggest thing? Well, this is the most important. Okay, great. And then this is a big one. She bought into it. And I mean all the way. Every time we were anywhere, she was like, Dad, are you having fun? Dad, you love this? How much better is that than the reverse of, hey, are you enjoying it? Oh, no, this is not good. Okay, should we go somewhere else for dinner? I'm so sorry. She was the one asking me. And of course, I'm going, Claire, I love this. And we did the most amazing thing. So we stayed right downtown Manhattan in Times Square. Ooh. When we went shopping, I made a deal with myself. I said, I will never be the one to say we need to leave. So I sat there. And I'm telling you, since then, 20 times she said to me, Dad, I'll never forget how patient you were. I've never had anyone just sit there while I shopped and shot, and it meant so. She didn't buy a ton. I mean, she bought like $80 worth of stuff.
In New
And then she,
York, I think that's a
in New York,
pencil.
I know, right? I know. Now I bought her a really nice dress, and
Good.
she'll never forget that one either. But we went to Harry Potter and that was amazing, by the way. Like we did all these amazing things. She chose restaurants, but it was so exceptional. And now we will forever have this memory, just her and I.
That is the coolest. I love it. And every once in a while, I'll hear about daddy-daughter dates, and actually, I think I need to reinstitute those. So, you're calling me to action on this, and I
Love it.
thank you. This is really good, and I'm crazy about my kids, but we do everything generally as a group. I like a family unit, and I want us to be tight together.
Yes.
But I think there's a lot of sense that you just talked about there, and they're both old enough to plan the trip, so we're gonna try this.
Awesome. I love it. Now, Josh, perfect segue into tell me about Wolverine, man. I love backstories.
Yep.
I love origin stories. So what's going on?
All right, as long
it.
as I can get to your book after this, because this is important. But
Yeah,
back in early 2018, my wife is halfway there. We're in naming mode for the coming baby, and we knew that we wanted probably the last baby in this generation. So if there's going to be anybody memorialized, we got to make sure that we've got the right names in there. So William was a slam dunk name because that is my wife's grandfather, and he was wonderful, a great legacy of being a good father, good grandfather, hardworking electrician, ran a great business, started a hockey foundation with a hockey league in Rochester, New York, where he's from. Just good man, great legacy. William, that's there. My grandfather kind of raised me, and his name is Ed, so William Edward. And so we've got both of the grandfathers who had so much influence. And he was a Kodak exec, and I got great stories about my grandfather. Awesome. Then the other grandpa on the other side is Shannon's other grandfather is John. Good man. Didn't know him as well, I don't think, but we felt like, you know what, we're just going to do two middle names. William, Edward, John. Cool, done. So I thought we were done. And I'm sitting there. It's a weekend. I finally have some downtime, and I'm just in chill mode. And I was in also a weird mood. And so I said, hey, babe, can we add a third middle name? And she's like, I guess. Did we forget somebody? I was like, no, I'm thinking something kind of badass. And she's like, what do you propose? And I already knew. It was in my mind that I wanted to say Wolverine. Now, I have no clue why I said it other than it was in my head.
I love it.
So she goes, all right, Hugh Jackman's cool. The character's cool. I dig it. And a couple minutes later, I realized that my grandmother was one of the first women to graduate from Michigan State University, and they're the Wolverines. So I thought, oh, and there's a family connection to grandma. I like that too. But that's not the big reveal. That is not the big reveal. So she agrees to it because my wife's freaking cool. And so now he's going to be William Edward John Wolverine Pies. And we're sitting on that for a day. And the next day, Shannon goes, I'm still a go, but what if we're missing something about the third middle name that could actually be a problem? Is there any reason that we could cause him harm to have a playful middle name like that? And I said, well, if it's buried, first of all, he's not going to lead with it necessarily, but if he's the class clown, he can be Wolverine. If he's the tough guy and he's a big football player, he can be the Wolverine. Yeah. If it's a little embarrassing and he doesn't like it, he can just kind of bury it. I don't see a problem. She goes, can we just ask one person to make sure we're not crazy? I said, well, we're going to get called crazy, but I understand the safety concern. Totally. Who are you going to ask? She goes, I'll just ask my mom. Done. So the following day, her mom comes over. I'm in the other room. I'm not thinking anything of it. And then I hear her mom sobbing. I mean, ugly crying. I suddenly realize that what I was overhearing was her, Shannon, my wife, asking about the middle name. And I did the chicken thing. I just started sneaking out of the room further and further away. It was my idea. I caused the problem. And then my mother-in-law, Marjorie, comes and finds me, and she thanks me for choosing that name and how beautiful it is. And I am mystified. I don't understand. She couldn't explain it to me because she was still that emotionally moved. It wasn't negative. It was beyond positive. So now I'm still mystified.
Wow.
So then over dinner, Shannon explains to me what happened. And so here's the punchline. And it's I hope it gives you chills. In 1991, my wife's family had a tragic car accident where she lost a number of family members, one of them being her father.
Oh.
Her father, who was a very short dude, he was about 5'4" on a good day, was the navigator on the B-1B Lancer for the U.S. Air Force and one of the top navigators in the world. Everybody looks to him as the boss when it came to that. And he was a tough guy, but a very, lovingly firm and an amazing dad. But his name was Robert, and when he would get picked on as a kid, they'd call him Little Bobby because he was so short. So he had cut a deal with his daughters well before the accident, and he couldn't predict this conversation was necessary at that point, but he had already told them, if you ever have a boy, he can't be named after me because he's going to get the short gene, and he's going to be Little Bobby, and I'm not passing that down. So if you ever have that thought, I love you, I'm honored, don't do it. That was his advice to his daughters. Shannon and I did not know that his flight nickname was Wolverine.
Wow. Yep, God gift. Wow.
Yep. I to this day know that God whispered in my ear. He said, hey, you're a goofball. Suggest Wolverine. She's going to say yes. But I didn't know why. So I just did what I was told to do, kind of. And so Will's third middle name is his grandfather, who was brilliant, fair, kind, tough as nails. He would pick fights with guys twice his size in a bar and walk out with a chipped tooth and a smile. I mean, this guy was tough, and he could navigate one of the most complicated, brilliant machines of its era around the world like it was nothing. The guy is so worthy of having a cool kid named after him, and he had already planted the seed of, no, I'm going to protect my grandchildren. But how cool of a guy to do that too.
Yeah.
But his flight nickname is my son's name, and I couldn't have even planned it because I didn't know.
What a story, brother. Wow, is that beautiful. And so much meaning. Oh,
I know.
I love that, man.
I know. And Will just recently, he's 5 and he's in kindergarten. He's been hearing us occasionally call him the Wolverine. And the other day he's like, Dad, am I the Wolverine? I said, well, yeah, buddy, that's your middle name. What's it mean to you? And he goes, I don't know yet. I was like, that's okay. You don't have to know yet. But he's starting to catch that he's the Wolverine. And I've been saying, yep, that's your grandpa's name, Wolverine. Yeah. And so he's starting to put that together. And I can't wait I never got a chance to meet my father-in-law because my wife and I didn't meet for another 10 years. So I only know stories and legacy. But as much as I have, I'm going to tell those stories to Will because all of those positive traits I know Bob had, I can't wait for Will to start showing.
What a beautiful gift. What a beautiful gift. And I got to say, only God could create something so wild. Like,
right.
So
I know. I'm a writer. I've written for film and TV for years. I don't think I could have come up with that one.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, beautiful.
Thank you. So, Marcus, I'm honored that you wanted to hear that story, and I've wanted to get it on the show. Haven't gotten it yet. So that was cool for two dads to hang out and do that.
I absolutely loved it. Can I throw out, it's funny because you said something before the story. You said, hey, I'd love to hear like a performance coach's or a life strategist take on this. So I want to throw one thing out there for people who are like, man, I want to have a story like that. Cause that is legit. Like one of those unbelievable stories that, Josh, you could tell that 1 trillion times. And I think literally every time you tell it, people will be like, what? That's amazing. I mean, that is a cocktail party story every time. So one of the things that I'm hearing that you did that I think is available to all of us. And again, going back into the more you move into your authentic self, the cleaner you're going to hear this message. And the more the message is going to suit you. But if you can open up your mind to this idea of, I'm open to this. I'm opening my mind to receiving an answer. Now, I'm a Christian man. So yes, I'm talking to God and I'm going, God, you're much bigger than me. You're 1 trillion, billion times more powerful than me. And you know all. Here's what I'm dealing with. I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind giving me an answer. So now, for anybody who believes in a higher power and you believe in God, You can ask that. And what's so cool, he will answer. The question is, will you be listening? Are you open to it? Because Josh just showed, hey, he was open, like maybe we should have this. And look at the answer that he received, something that he couldn't have dreamed of. He couldn't have written better himself. That is what I'm used to with our amazing God. Now, the other cool thing, by the way, even if you're just like, Marcus, the God thing, it doesn't do it for me. I want to explain to you, when I use the word universe right now, this is not this foofy, like hippie type of, oh, the molecules around me. No. But what's cool about mindset stuff and the mindset shifts that I've been working with for over 30 years is that if you open up your brain to say, you know what, I'm open to this. So I still know it's God answering. You don't have to say it's God answering, but you can say that, hey, because I opened up my mind, I was open to an answer, and you will receive one if you're watching.
I love that. Well, and, as a Christian, God's the author, and my mother sent me something just yesterday. And the reason why I don't try to bring out my phone in the middle of a podcast, but I went searching for this because I wanted to grab this because I think she sent it for you and me right now.
Oh, I love this.
There was a green sheet of paper, an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper on my wall in my bedroom when I was a kid. She printed it at work. She got permission to do it. And it was Proverbs 8:12. And Proverbs 8:12, for those unfamiliar, may the Lord give you wisdom and the knowledge of witty inventions. And actually, that's her shortening. I think it's not quite the King James, but the original King James is, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of witty inventions.
Yes.
And the find out knowledge of witty inventions thing is so interesting to me because, and when I was a kid, I thought I had to be an inventor. That was my interpretation as a kid. I would invent something. So if I can find the wisdom and the prudence in this world and be a good student of that and dwell with it enough, because they dwell with each other, that I would be the beneficiary of finding out knowledge of witty inventions. But it's that being open and being quiet to be able to say, okay, God, I have a problem that I've identified, whether it's mine or a market problem or my kids or whatever. And I need that knowledge of a witty invention to unlock what you want me to unlock for it. And then just wait on it. It's amazing how it actually happens.
Yes. I love that, brother.
Yeah. So for anybody who's listening and wants to Google that again, it's Proverbs 8:12. So
Josh, I'd love to jump in with one thing here, because you said something beautiful that leads me to something I really want to help people see, another why and another piece to their purpose on this planet. So you talked about God as the author, which I totally agree with. But here's what's really exciting that I don't think enough people give thought to. If you've accepted the Lord in you, then the Lord resides in you. So now it's not just God, this, it's this entity. I'm not sure exactly how this works. God is here. Therefore, I am the co-creator. I'm the co-writer in my life. So what incredible purpose I have and drive I have to write something amazing for this life. He did not come into this for me to go sit on the couch. He did not come into this for me to just live this average life. He has given me all of his power to tap into whenever I would like, for his will and his purpose in my life. So as much as he loves me, and he loves me who I am right now, and yes, I love myself right now, which I know is a very hard thing for people to say, but I love myself so much right now that I will not let myself be complacent and stay here. I know who I'm supposed to be, which is a much bigger and better version of myself. So it is my duty and it is my honor to grow myself every single day.
That's outstanding. And coming from somebody, and forgive the description, but I think you'll understand why I'm saying it this way. A lot of people would say you've arrived. You built a pretty sizable business, you sold. And so I'm sure, you can afford more than ramen noodles, and you can take your kids over to New York City. So for somebody who's arrived, to not be finished the way you're not finished, and see, there's so much purpose that ought to be fulfilled because you're just not done, is instructive. Because I feel like people will hit finish points and they've defined them as finish points, unnecessarily so.
Yes.
But you're a great example of somebody who could say, got my finish point, time to go fishing. And you clearly have no interest in that. And I love that example.
Thank you for that. And I'll tell you, the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing. And that really
Socrates.
Yes, brother. So not only do I get excited over that, but here's the other thing. What I've learned is it's the journey that is the most exciting part. The growth, not enough people are experiencing this. It is this like warm bath. Come climb into it. You'll never want to get out. When you start growing, you go, oh, I just love this. I know for certain I'm a better version of myself than I was yesterday. That's a great thing. I don't even need to know where this path is going. I just know I'm going to keep growing, and then I'll learn something over here and I'll go, maybe I should go a little bit over here. Oh, that's exciting. And I grow and I grow. And guess how much confidence that instills in myself and my capabilities and where I'm supposed to be in life and what I'm supposed to do in life. The only thing that's going to cause you so much stress and anxiety over this situation is if you just stand still, if you just go sit on the couch. Of course, you're going to feel stressed and anxious because you know you're supposed to be doing more in life. You know you should be playing a bigger game.
You are a master of segues because we need to talk about that book. And this is a theme that you and I were discussing in the book too, is this taking action theme is just a thread through the entire thing. So let's get into this because the book, it's funny. There's so much self-help out there. And it's a little bit still like the Wild Wild West. I mean, I've been watching Russell Brunson recently, went and bought all of the Napoleon Hill library, and he's digging really into the self-help thing. And I heard him talk about the other day that there was an original 1800s author who wrote a book, and I don't remember the guy's name at this point, but it was called Self-Help. And it may be the original, like, seminal self-help book. And Russell's all excited about it, and he's doing his thing. But we watch what's happened from there to here, and it's its own genre. There's a place in Barnes and Noble and in the library, and Amazon's got 10 billion of them out there. And I think you're probably a reader like I am, so I've read a whole bunch of them. And there's a section of the library that should be different cover, same stuff. It literally should just be whichever one's cheapest, buy this one because you're going to get the same message.
Yeah.
And then there's others that actually have similar messaging. It's not that they're same, but maybe they're similar, but they're delivered in a way that lights a fire under my butt and moves me with a new level of clarity. And after talking to you as much as I have now, this is your new book, that you've got some of those things that are similar and the threads exist in other people's texts, but this one's got fire in it. So can you light a fire under us right now as we're listening and give me like the 2 or 3 things that you want to share with us from the book right now? Don't tell us the whole book. We need to go buy it. But give us something to hinge on so we know that we're going to go and get that fiery book that you've written and be better for it.
I love this. Thank you. And you've really tapped into something beautiful in saying that not every book is written for you. Like you and I have both read books where it's just, oh my goodness, it's like molasses. And it's like, what? I've been at this thing for an hour and I'm 4 pages in. How's that even possible? But then there's books you start reading and you're like, what? I'm at the end of the book. It's been 1 day. So what I want to encourage everybody with is if you're listening to this and you're like, there's something about the way Markus talks. It feels like I'm being lit up right now. He's speaking into my heart. That means I have a voice that you like. So my encouragement is get my book because it will speak to you. Like this is the voice of the book. One of the best compliments I've received to a bunch of the people who read it ahead of time is they said, Markus, this really is your voice. It's like a conversation with you. And that's really what I wanted to do with this book is to say, hey, this is exactly what I did. And if you do these things, you can expect the same results as me. Like, that's how confident I am. This will change your life. So let me give you a couple things. One, I want to give you one of the most important equations you will ever hear in your life. And you don't have to enjoy math to enjoy this equation. K, which is knowledge, minus A, which is action, equals 0. If you take away the action, you can expect no change. You could consume, read every book on the planet. If you do nothing with the information, you will have no change in your life. In fact, your life will be much worse because now you know what you should be doing. So my book has action riddled throughout. It has challenge after challenge after challenge. So you'll read a section about a mindset shift, a little, maybe an analogy to help you understand the tool that we're going to use. And then I say, now you got to put it to use. If you do these challenges, literally, I bet there's 70 challenges in this book. If you do one, it will change your life.
So give me the equation again. I understand it. I could say it myself. I want to hear it from you.
K, which is knowledge. So K minus A, which is action, equals 0.
Wow. It's Marcus, I've been saying a similar, but not exactly the same thing for a little while now that, I believe that expertise is demonstrable. And if you are extremely adept and maybe even world class at something, but nobody else knows, you are not an expert.
Yeah.
You're something else. You're something other, but you're not an expert. And, if a tree falls in a forest, doesn't make a sound, I don't really care. But if an expert's in a closet, he's not an expert at all.
Yeah.
Because nobody was there to hear him. Nobody was there to experience it. Expertise is demonstrable. And knowledge minus action equaling 0 almost hurts. Because it's those experts out there, maybe they have all the knowledge.
Yeah.
But if they do nothing with it, not only is it 0 output, but are you possibly a 0?
Really good. Really good.
Like that hurts. That should cut to somebody right now. If you're not taking action on what you know, is it possible that not only are you getting no result, but are you actually, by definition of Marcus's equation, a 0? Ouch.
Yeah.
That's very convicting.
Good. And listen, I want to talk about the difference between conviction and condemnation. You are not condemned. It's not over for you. If that convicted you even a tiny bit, do something about it. You have the choice. You have the power. You can change immediately. And, this is a beautiful through line into something it's one of the very first stories I talk about in the book. It was a radical turning point in my life. I heard Tony Robbins cassette tapes, and I was 15 years old.
Cassette tapes?
Yeah, buddy. Goes way back, right? I heard these things, and I went, wait, if these make sense to me. And this is what I hope when you're reading my book, you're going to go, yeah, this makes sense. And yeah, if I did this stuff every day, like if I did it consistently, there's no way it wouldn't change my life. One of the ways that I say what you just said, which is success leaves clues. So it's like, yeah, if I did this every day, it's obvious. Of course I'd have success. If I were to work out every day, if I were to eat right every day, it's obvious. It is obvious. Now, of course, it's not always easy just to go, okay, so now I'll start doing it. I appreciate that. But again, that's why having someone like me in your life, encouraging you, pushing you, keeping you accountable, and challenging you constantly. But that was the turning point for me is I recognized this equation of like, man, if I just do this stuff every day, of course I'll be successful. Like there's no other outcome that's even possible. So now the question is, am I willing to do it every day? Am I willing to learn the disciplines? Am I willing to create the habits that will help me on this journey, remove the bad habits that are hindering me from this journey? And this, what you see today, is a product of this system. So if you do these things, I can promise you, you will get the same results as me. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll have the same bank account as me. No, that's not what I'm promising. But I'm promising you that your life will radically change in your own eyes very quickly. Because the glasses that you are currently wearing, they filter this world in so many ways that are not serving you. They're making you feel like more of a zero. They're making you, they're reminding you of the things you've done wrong. They're guilting you. What I can do is I can help you remove those glasses and replace them with glasses that will serve you. What if? What if I'm capable? What if I did that every day? What if I did just little steps every day to make myself just a little bit better today than I was yesterday? What if I did celebrate that and released that dopamine on my own without going to another source for that dopamine? What would happen in my life?
Wow. That is powerful. I love the power of what if. And in the hands of somebody who intends to actually use it, it's the dreamer's gift, man. It is so good. What If is amazing. Hey, where are we going to find your book? How do we buy it? I know we can interact with you at your website. Yes. Is that where we ought to go buy it?
Honestly, go to anywhere that you buy books, and the Audible will come out around the same time. You can pre-order the book now. Mm-hmm. I guess, I don't know how these things work. You probably pre-order the Audible as well. And you will hear my voice because I'm the one who wants to speak into your
I was going to ask you, you needed to be the one who reads the Audible, because I love James Earl Jones. His voice would be great for it. But the fire is in you. And Thank so I'm glad you're the one who read it.
I was so excited. And if you pre-order the book, come register it, because I'm going to give you a bunch of free goodies. And so If you register it, you go to playabiggergame.com/book, register it. And I'm not only going to give you goodies right away, but then you're entered to win a bunch of trips. So I'm going to do some trips, because I'm going to do, in July of 2024, I'm going to do a massive launch party. And part of that party is a conference with some unbelievable speakers who will radically change your life. It's going to be in LA or Las Vegas. And I'm going to give away a bunch of tickets. I'm going to fly people in. And even if you can't do that, you might also win tickets to watch it virtually. But I'd love to be in your life. I'd love to be your cheerleader. I'd love to encourage you on your path. And last thing, Josh, I just want to say thank you. You are awesome at what you do. Oh, thank you for this amazing time with you, brother. Like, I feel very blessed to have been here. And one last gift I want to give to you is, hey, listeners, take 1 minute and let's go and give a 5-star review to this podcast. By giving that 5-star review, we're going to trigger those algorithms so more people come and get this content. Josh is putting in so much of his time, his effort, his love into this. The least we can do is take 1 minute to go give a review.
Oh, you are so kind. It does matter. And I truly appreciate that. Markus, I have a feeling you and I are going to be long-term friends. This is the first time we're actually hanging out. We've communicated digitally, but now we're actually hanging out. And we're cut from similar cloths. We believe the same way. And I'll tell you, I know the way you care for people is the way I see people too.
I can see that.
We're buddies. You can't get rid of me now.
I love it. God bless
with that, I'll close out the show just by reminding our audience that, everybody who's on the show actually cares about you and your journey. The reason why Bootstrapped Unicorns exists is not only are we celebrating the successes that other people have had, but more importantly, we're learning, we're finding the actionable, tactical, data that you can apply to your life, and also the inspiration, the idea that you can do it. You can overcome, you can succeed, you can thrive in your life personally and in your business life. And all of these things, this is my exploration. This is my Napoleon Hill moment, if you didn't know. Napoleon claimed that he went out, and people say maybe he didn't, but I don't care. I think he did. He went and met, the Carnegies and followed all of their rich friends and documented all of that to create Think and Grow Rich. Well, in a modern era, we have so many great people like Markus who can speak into our lives, but we need a curator. And for right now, I'm choosing on my show to be the curator, to go find these things to help me. I'm selfish on this one. I benefit every time. I'm here for every episode. But you can be here for every episode too and benefit with me. And if you would do me the honor, when you get something from one of these shows, especially if you feel like it's pivotal for your business, could you find a way of expressing that either publicly or send a message to our guests like Markus or to myself? Because we want to celebrate you and also offer the ideas and maybe even contacts and connections that might be the thing that takes whatever your pivot is and makes it even bigger than it currently is. So we'll sow into your life if you're willing to be present. And that's why I care that you like, I care that you subscribe, I care, thank you for the 5-star review. That's helpful so more people can see it. And then I care that you go get Markus's book, because this is about you becoming the better you that you know you can be this, you know. And so thank you for being here. And now do all of these things. Follow through. Follow through in action is the theme. It is everything. And we believe you've got it. With that, as I always say, I have no clue who the next guest is going to be, and I don't need to know because my team is booking the coolest, most interesting people to be on this show to do exactly what I just promised, to pour into your life. I'll see you on the next episode.